Welcome back everyone to the PawnStorm YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing things a little bit different. I'm not going to be going over any games, but instead I'm going to be going over a little bit of detail as to going to your first tournament. This was mostly inspired by me going to my first tournament, and I didn't know everything about it. About going to my first one, I didn't know all the details about it, but you know, I was given some good advice by a friend of mine from my chess club. So this is kind of a I don't know, a video to kind of go over some of the stuff that he shared with me. He gave me a lot of different points, some good advice as to as to what to expect and things to go into expecting when going into this tournament. So I have to give a big shout out to him and thanks to him for basically he's one of the people who inspired this video. So thanks, Blake. And so I'm not going to be sharing any games. I'm just going to be talking about going to a tournament. So I might just split this video up a little bit into a few parts, so it's not so so you can go around, skip. So I might put some timestamps on the video player. I'm not sure, but so starting out, if you have a USCF membership, which is what most people in the United States have, unless you have a FIDE membership, you have a USCF membership. And I'm not going to be talking about signing up. That's pretty easy. You go to uscf.org, you sign up, and it's like a month, it's like a yearly membership. I don't exactly know how much it is, but when you go to tournaments, when you go to a tournament, I should say, when you first get to the tournament, normally for a tournament in the US, for like a USCF rated tournament, you don't usually need to sign in or anything, but you will need to look at your pairings, which is very important at the beginning of each round. It's like 5-10 minutes before each round. They usually put the pairings up on the wall. This is what happened in my tournament, at least. They put the pairings up on the wall. So here's just a quick little photo. It's kind of, I had to edit it, so it's not the best, but here's a quick little idea of what this might look like. So here you see my name right here, and here down at the bottom here, and this is what it looks like for this one. So here you see the top, so it's 2025 Winter Open U900 right there, and then G stands for game time, so 90 plus 30 is 90 minutes plus 30-second increment. And then here on the left side you have everybody playing with white, as you see on the top. BD is board number, and then everyone on the right is playing with black. You see their ratings, you see how many points they have. And normally what happens in a tournament like this, like a Swiss tournament, is that's what this means. A Swiss tournament, everybody who's in the same point group plays each other. So at the end of round 1, I had 0 points because I lost my first game, so I played someone else who had 0 points. And you see people up here had 1 point, they played another 1 pointers. These people had this guy had a draw. This person had 0.5. If I can make this a little bit bigger, I will try to do that, just so you can see. This guy right here had a draw, and the people at board number 78 had a draw, and he's playing someone with 0 points. So these people at board number 76 had both draws. So just to give you an idea of the pairings, at least for this. And then again, the game, G stands for game, and then 90 plus 30. So that was for that one. Another thing for tournaments is you want to ahead of time, you want to make sure that you get the time right on your clock. If you need to, for most tournaments in the US, you need to, for this tournament it was nice because they provided boards, but you will need to, for most tournaments, you will need to bring your own board and pieces. So you will need to set up or watch a video on how to set up a clock. Maybe if I get a clock I can show you. Maybe I'll just pause the video quickly and go get it. Okay, so I kind of just dug around for a little bit, but here's my clock, and right here, so it sets at 5 minutes here. And basically, if you're playing like a 90-minute game, you go to 1, not that, you go to 1, and then here, like that. And then you have to, for most tournaments with the classical time format, you need to set bonus time. So usually it's like about 30 seconds. And that will look like this. So here, and then it should look like this if you have a 90-minute tournament. And I'm kind of out of breath because I just ran, but you start the clock, and then someone makes a move, and you press the clock if you don't already know how to press the clock, and it'll go up from there. So that's how to set the clock like that. And then also, if you are at the board, most, I would say 90 to 90, most tournaments, probably like all tournaments, are pretty strict about using phones or devices. So for this tournament, I noticed that a couple people who like their phone, like, you know, there was notification sounds or something, they actually took time off of their clock. So they are pretty strict about having like noise from your phone. So make sure to keep your phone off, and most people will put it on the board face down next to them. And also tournament directors are kind of concerned about cheating in some cases over the board. So you want to, you know, kind of make sure that you can put them at ease about that. And then another thing about playing is, most of this is about playing, but when you're playing a classical game, it's going to be very long. It's going to be a very long game. For me, it was very long. All my games lasted very long. But when you are playing, I'm going to kind of just get more psychological here, but when you are playing, you want to make sure, like, when you are thinking of moves to play, you want to think of like the top like 3 to 5 moves that are the best that you can see that you can play in that position. And when you think of those moves, you want to think of the response that your opponent might have. And it's very important when you are thinking of that, you make sure you think of it in the perspective of your opponent will more often than not play the most perfect move. Just that's a good. Sometimes they might not, but most, like, you want to be thinking that they might, because then you will be expecting it. And you know, it's always better to overestimate than underestimate, right? So that's just one idea to help you. I know it helped me a lot, especially in the later rounds, because, you know, early on I was pretty like nervous and stuff, and you know, it was my first one, so I don't know, that really helped me. But yeah, so we talked about phones and stuff like that. What else? And then about your opponent as well, you want to look at their moves as well. So look at their top, you know, 3 to 5 choice moves that they have in a certain position, and you want to already be thinking about your responses, right? So think about that. Always keep in mind that they will play the best move, because that's always sorry about that. You want to always keep in mind that they will play the best move. Just, that's a great thing to have in the back of your mind. They might not. They might play the worst move every time. It's just always better to overestimate than underestimate, because then you will not be surprised and you will be expecting it, I guess. Okay. Another thing about time usage is you use your time. People, sometimes they're playing kids. The kids play fast. They play crazy. I mean, kids are normally restless and they don't like to play slow. They don't like to think. They like to play bullet. They like to play hyper bullet 30-second games. And sometimes you just need to slow down. And I've found that, and this is something else I've heard from other people, if you're playing someone who is like playing like that, like intentionally trying to play fast because that's all they do is play fast, you should, if that is happening to you, if your opponent is doing that, then you should slow down. You should slow down and think, because they're wasting their moves playing fast, and you should actually take advantage of your time. And also, in some positions, I've found that in some areas of play and in tournaments and whatnot, I have found that that'll actually kind of frustrate them. because they are expecting you to mirror their moves, and that is just, you should not be doing that. You should not be copying them because you are taking full advantage of your time and they are not. And if they're playing like that, they will suffer for it if they are actually just blitzing moves and they're not actually paying attention. So that's something very important. If you are in a tournament or a situation where you're playing someone like that in a high stake, not high stakes, but in a classical tournament, you want to make sure that if they're playing like that, you want to slow down and take full advantage of your time, because you will be the one who is better, I guess, in the game than them, because you are taking advantage of your time. You're actually thinking about what you're doing. You're thinking about your play. So it's very important if you're facing someone like that to take advantage of your time and slow down. All right. So what else? Okay, and then when you are playing as well, if you're playing at the board, most chess tournaments are very quiet, so you don't want to. This kind of goes back to the whole phone thing. You want to be quiet so people can actually concentrate, because it really. I mean, for me, when some people would just cough or that phone thing, I remember one guy's phone went off, and it was very distracting because I was right in the middle of calculating something, and it's really distracting if something like that happens. So you want to make sure that you keep noise to a minimum, because most chess tournaments, the playing hall is very quiet. And then another thing about playing at the board, etiquette and stuff, after the game, if you want to talk to your opponent after the game, go over the position, you don't want to do it at the board, because people are next to you maybe, and that might distract them, and you don't want to do that. So just maybe quietly ask them if you want to go over the board, hey, do you want to go outside? Do you want to go out the playing hall and talk about it? Most people will be fine with this. Most people will, they'll be used to that. So you can go out there, talk about it, but don't do it in the playing hall because it's quiet. People are distracting. People are, focused on the game, and they might get distracted. So you don't want to do that. So if you want to discuss the game, make sure to go outside and discuss it out there. Okay. What else? Honestly, I think that's it. I mean, I think I've covered most of the things I wanted to about playing, and I don't know. What I wanted to cover was, the actual playing and the, the actual play in the game. So, let me see if there's. I'm trying to think if there's something else I was gonna say as well. Yeah. So, if you are playing and you're in the middle of a game or something, you shouldn't really feel bound to your chair, you need to stay there. I mean, that's what happened to me in the first round. I didn't really get up at all, except for a few minutes to go to the bathroom or something. And you shouldn't really feel bound to your chair, because it's kind of hard to stay at the board for 3 hours if it does last the whole time in a tournament like that. So you can get up and walk around, and remember, keep noise to a minimum, because that will be distracting for people who want to concentrate on the game. So make sure to do that. And what else? Honestly, I think that's it. And I hope this video was instructive for you guys, and maybe I'll make another video at some point with more in-depth information about tournaments and stuff like that. So I hope that was enjoyable. I hope you learned something from it. Most importantly, I hope you learned from it. And I wanted to keep it kind of short, so I think we might be around, 13, 14, 15 minutes, something like that. That's right around where I wanted to be. So hopefully you all enjoyed, and I'll stop yapping, and I'll see you all in the next video. Oh, and if you want to check out another video, you can click here, and you can click here to subscribe, and click here to watch your video. YouTube will suggest this video for you, and yeah, see you all in the next video.